don't show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy, ha ha. It's a 6-ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Portland live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards of hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6 Rings Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6 Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Welcome back, everybody. We got the four horsemen here today of the apocalypse, getting ready to throw down some evil Kings world. Whatever, that fell apart. That fell apart as I was saying it. But the four horsemen sounded like a good thing, and then it fell apart like Jackson Cantwell's ranking after he committed to the Miami Hurricanes. But anyways, we'll get to that in a little bit. How's everybody doing today, Mr. Vish, Mr. Bluestein, and DJ? How are you guys holding up? It's starting to get really hot out here. You know what that means?
Yeah, been real busy.
Busy time.
Lot of teams.
A lot of 7-on-7s going on now in the summer. I'm sure, Blue, you'll be out there. A ton of that stuff. A lot of recruiting information that we'll try to give you today. Some other stuff.
Still in spring. Got this last week.
Doesn't feel like it though.
I was over at a couple of 14 schools.
That's it.
2 days. Saw our guy Mirabal at the South Ridge game, looking at his prodigy at center.
Yeah. Yep. Mr. Moret.
He spent the whole 2 scrimmage days there. They played Delray Atlantic, very good team, and they played Daytona Mainland, which was a very good team. So,
I saw what's their names, the guy Javier Mallory put on a clinic in Columbus.
Well, yeah, but that also is one of those things where West Boca uses everybody and Columbus doesn't use anybody.
Gotcha.
Because Columbus abides by the rules of not using transfers. And
by the way, we got another Columbus commander. I don't know if we spoke. Did we speak about Joaquin's son last time?
We didn't, but
I know that's not a big commit or anything like that. It's kind of more of a legacy thing.
Yeah.
But look, he is he the starting quarterback for Columbus?
He was split. He split.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he was, legacy.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about that.
But you know what this warmer weather means, Jess?
What does that mean?
It means time to check up on your tires. That's what that means.
Ooh, look at you, man! Ain't that the truth? You know that one of my tires is not blinking. That it's a low PSI. So who's better to go talk to about that and any other your tire needs than you Brake Wheel Fix. Vish, what do you think about that? Look at DJ coming in with a fire for the ads.
I try to add something to the show. Who the hell knows?
Jesus Christ. Have you ever run over a pothole so hard your steering wheel shakes? Are you constantly losing air in your tires that you need to keep adding air? Chances are there's an issue with your wheels, and U Brake Wheel Fix is your solution. U Brake Wheel Fix is Miami's premier wheel repair restoration company with over 20 years of experience and located in North Miami. U Brake Wheel Fix offers quick repairs for damaged wheels, and in most cases can offer free loaner wheels to keep you on the road while they repair your damaged ones. If your wheels are looking weathered and it's time to freshen up your car, don't replace your wheels, refinish them. Their in-house wheel refinishing solutions such as powder coating, machining, and polishing will give your car the like new look it deserves. Contact Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or on any social media outlet. It's at U Brake Wheel Fix, the letter U, Brake Wheel Fix. Mention 5 reasons to get 5.5% off your next repair. Check them out. It's U Brake Wheel Fix, powder coating, and wheel repair. 305-748-0112. That's 305-748-0112. You're good. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
So I actually wanted to start with throwing some of the DJ and Blue from last week. So you both were so
I know
sure.
what you're gonna say. I've been thinking about this all week.
DJ, let's start with you, and then Blue, you can chime in. What happened?
I didn't hear you. I couldn't hear that. What happened?
DJ, let's start with that. Well,
Yeah.
why is Jackson Cantwell at Miami instead of Georgia, like you predicted last week?
Probably money and Alex Mirabal. Why else would he be at Miami?
So, what do you think changed though? Because I think we did the show the night before he committed to Miami.
Yeah. Because we always do it that way, right?
Yeah, we got timing. We're exquisite timing. We are learning from our fearless leader on the clock management there. But what do you think changed there? Because I know Miami was the front runner, then it was Oregon, it was Georgia. So what do you think? It came full circle back to Miami in the end. Obviously, money's a factor, but I don't think Phil Knight's not like, I'm not paying that kid. So I don't know that that's a deciding factor. They're all in the same ballpark. He's got an agent that handles that. So what do you think kind of changed? You think it was Mirabal's effect and kind of the track record of both Mirabal and Cristobal putting guys in the pros?
Yeah, because you know what? I think Miami is very good, and we talked about this on the show before about the ability to close at the last second. Mario Cristobal, we talk about his faults and things like that and the things he does well. And one of the things he does really well is close the deal when they really want a guy. And I think Miami did a solid job of closing here. And, the experience and the knowledge that Mirabal brings to the offensive line position certainly doesn't hurt matters either. And, I think when you look at a program like Oregon, they have a track record of winning, but they get some really good recruits, but I don't know if they have as solid a foundation as Miami does at the moment. So, I think it was a combination of Miami, sealing the deal last second and, just the background that Mirabal has, obviously with the offensive line, as does Cristobal.
What about you, Blue? You also had him going to Georgia last week. Do you know why he ultimately chose Miami? Did you get anything from the coaches maybe or anything?
No, I did. I just I felt that money was the deal.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically, we can kind of, say, oh, it wasn't money, but I mean, it was very clearly money.
Is it that, you think it's that big of a difference between what Miami is versus Georgia and Oregon?
Yeah, I mean, there was even a post on, I think it was Rivals, where one analyst said money was the contributing factor. I mean, I think for this, it was kind of clear as day, and hey, in this day and age, that's okay.
Can I chime in? Because we always have to believe. We always have to believe. I mean, everything that's on the internet is true, guys. So we must believe everything that's on the internet. Here's where I'm gonna go against that, and I'm gonna say, number one, I think look, this is not a knock on Georgia. Georgia develops players at a high level. You see it all the time in college sports and in the NFL when they go to the NFL. However, there's been a little bit of a streak now where Georgia has not been able to develop a very good offensive lineman. They've had an issue with offensive line. They've had an issue running the football for the past couple of years, even though they have really good running backs in Etienne and Frazier and this one and that one. They still haven't had the level of success that you expect from a Georgia team right off the bat from the offensive line, number one. Number two, they lost their really good offensive line coach and brought in Stacy Searles, who we all know about, right? Who's been there for a couple of years now and can develop a bucket if you give him a hose to put water in the bucket. So you got those two things that are playing against your factor as far as development of a team. And then if you go to Oregon, Oregon has a track record of developing offensive linemen when Coach Mirabal was there. So we're talking about, Conyers, Johnson, Jackson, whatever that kid's name was that came down from Oregon down here to Miami to hang out with us in the spring. Penei Sewell, obviously. You've got Lemieux, who's another guy that they've developed up there. And I can name them a couple more. Now, that's not to say that Dan Lanning doesn't have a really good offensive line coach and a good program over there where he develops players. Absolutely. But I think that the problem is that we're still throwing too much shade at Coach Mirabal and Coach Cristobal and how they recruit and how they develop relationships with players. And I'm sorry, man, but I know the money is big. And I know that everybody talks about how we have the most. Now, it's either we're broke and we don't have any money, or it's either we're the richest team in sports and we're doing something illegal. And that's why we're getting all the players. So it's no in between. It's no us doing a good job or Mario Cristobal or Mirabal busting their ass to recruit a player and develop a relationship, which I think is total nonsense. And you know why? And I kind of take offense to it from the national media and from all these quote unquote experts that are out there talking trash about how Miami. The only reason that they got Jackson Cantwell or any other high-profile players is because they can pay them more than other guys. They don't have more money than Texas. They don't have more money than Oregon or Georgia or Alabama or some of these high-profile teams. They may have just enough money, but they also have guys that are leaders of men. They also have guys like Cristobal and Mirabal and Coach Field, who's an off-the-field guy that can develop relationships. All these things matter, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm in the business of developing relationships every single damn day. That's what I do for a living. Is I develop relationships, and I go against some of the biggest companies in the country when it comes to getting contracts and getting preferred vendors to come on board and to work with me as opposed to work with others. I don't have the most money. I don't have the most the most high profile things going on a daily basis. I don't have the biggest facilities in the country. I don't have any of that. But what I do have is the ability to be able to walk into a room and to build relationships with everybody in the room, to not burn bridges, to not screw people over, and to do what I said what I was going to come in to do. And if you can do that, okay, you can throw money out the window, okay, to a certain extent. Like, listen, you got to have the money, obviously, right? There's bidding wars. But at the end of the day, to say that it wasn't about building relationships or it wasn't about being able to go into that house and have a great conversation with that family, with that player, kind of, tell him what you're going to do, and hold everybody accountable, hold yourself accountable, and deliver, okay? And deliver on what you said you were going to do. That takes a lot of balls to do, okay, that you can go up there with a straight face and do it, because a lot of people say they can do it and they can't do it. And then when they bring you into that facility, then you end up, a fourth string, or you end up doing something stupid, or you end up not developing into the player or the man that you were supposed to be. And I think that the Miami Hurricanes do a great job of doing that. And a hats off to Mario Cristobal and Alex Mirabal for being able to develop that relationship and to go in there and get one of the best players. I'm tired of this whole the only reason that they get players is because of money. I think it's a load of crap. Okay, and quite frankly, again, I take offense to it because of what my daily job is and what I do on a daily basis. And by the way, my companies, the companies that I work with, multi-billion dollar companies. This is not Mickey Mouse stuff either. So I'm going in there and I'm developing relationships with people. That's the same thing that the Miami Hurricanes are doing, and they're winning out, and they're developing those relationships, and they're getting the contracts, or they're getting the players to come in and believe in them and come to play for the Miami Hurricanes. And if it's a mixture of both, great. That's fine. But to put the relationship building and to put that aside and say it had nothing to do with it, or it's a minimal part of the process when it comes to the Miami Hurricanes, I think it's a bunch of crap. And I think that we need to kind of step up and say, it's more than that. Give them credit. Give Mario Cristobal credit. Give Mirabal credit. They develop offensive linemen like nobody's business. They're gonna have the best offensive line in the country, and you're gonna tell me a kid's not gonna come want to play for the Miami Hurricanes because Georgia's gonna give him X amount more money? No, it's relationship building also, and they were able to do a great job of that. Sorry, I went on a rant, but
that's all right. Someone pissed on your Wheaties or something. I mean, you're just
yeah.
Good for you. That way stick up. DJ was like mesmerized by what you were saying.
No, I mean, because the
didn't think he was going to ever say a word again.
Welcome back, Jazz. I hadn't been back in like 2 weeks. Welcome back.
I know. Welcome back. What the hell, Jazz? No, just kidding. But anyway, I mean, the knock on Mario is not that he hasn't been able to recruit. That's been one of his biggest strengths. I mean, the knock on Mario is that he's struggled to win in crunch time. If there was anything that to knock on Mario for, that's what it has been. His strength has been recruiting, and I understand the national media has kind of, thrown the money thing around, and I do think it was a factor. But, anybody that's actually paid attention needs to realize that recruiting has been one of his strongest points at Miami. Yeah,
I agree, and plus getting a chance for him to coach those guys. I mean, Mirabal's a good coach. Mario's really, it's good to have your head coach right there. Because if you remember back on when Nick Saban was at LSU, even though he was a head coach, he was a DB coach. And if you remember Coach Walton, who was at Miami as well, he didn't even let him do his job because he was he took care of the DBs. And when I watched Mario at that scrimmage, and he get in those kids' face a little bit. Yeah, no, I agree. It's but I still think it's money. But that's okay.
I think we need to talk more
I
about. I
appreciate you, Blue.
I think we need to talk more about the fact that not a single game has been played, not a single weight has been lifted, not a single 7-on-7 or any of that crap has been done between the time that Jackson Cantwell committed and the new rankings came out. And he dropped 9 spots. I think we need to talk a little bit more.
How'd that happen?
How the hell did that happen? You go from being the number 1 player in the country to the number 10 player in the country?
I mean,
why?
Do we really need to talk about it more? We all know that these rankings people are a joke.
Where's that from? Rival?
So then which ones are you gonna right? And this is my point. What are you gonna believe? You're gonna believe them when they talk trash about Miami just being all about the money and everything, or are you gonna believe
I'm
9 points after committing to them? I mean, it just and I hate to say,
I think those are two separate things, though. I mean, I think like you're talking about the NIL world that we're living in right now and the arbitrary rankings of some writer who doesn't even see half these players.
Exactly.
Well, I'll call him out. It's like saying Andrew Ivins was all on board with Jackson Cantwell committed to Georgia, saying how good he was, how amazing he was, and when he commits to Miami, now he's not as good anymore. He's not so like that. So what is it? Flip a coin. Like what are we doing here? Why are we listening to half of these guys anyways that might not be able to get to every single – I guarantee you Blue gets some more games and sees more players than 247 or On 3 or any of these people do. Okay? So if I'm going to listen to someone –
I guarantee I do.
And guess what? He's on my damn show.
Yeah.
And you know what? For that, I got brought a sangria. Huh?
Oh, hey, way to bring one for everybody.
You can mail me some. I'll accept the gift kindly.
You know you sangria in a box.
That's what they come in now, right?
Yeah, they do. Oh, man.
Good stuff, Jet. No, that's good stuff.
You're a big sangria fan?
Yeah. I like it. I'm a big sangria fan. I like sangria.
I like anything pretty much, but that's another story for another day. Anyway.
Alcohol content on it. Oh, man. What's going on, man? You look very pensive over there. Did I say that right?
Who, me?
No, Bish. He's quiet.
Yeah, Bish ain't saying. Bish looks like he's watching the Dallas Cowboys spring game over there.
No, Bish I'm not here, so waiting. No, I'm not. No, I look the rankings. Who gives a shit? Honestly, we sit here and we're like, I can't believe that. Honestly, who cares? They used to do the opposite.
I mean,
No, look, here's what they do, right? Teams tend to stay on top for a while. The same teams tend to finish in the top 5 of the top 10. When players play for those schools, they boost the rankings of their commits up because they're not actually evaluating the player. They're evaluating their offer list and their commit list. They've been doing that for years. We used to get a boost on it when we were this was going back 20 years, but when we were the hottest show in town, anyone that committed to Miami would be a 4 or 5 star. It didn't matter how good they were. I'm sure Blue was watching some of these kids. Our kid's not. But it doesn't matter. If it was Miami back then, I mean, you can go read some of these profiles. This guy will be in the NFL in 3 years. And it's like, didn't even make the 2 deep here after he ended up on campus. And so now we're the other end of that, where we've underachieved for 2 decades. And so when kids come in here, they drop them down because all they want to do at the end of the day is say the better programs, and it's not us right now, right? The ones that are consistently finishing the top 5, put more kids in the NFL, and then they can tie that back to the rankings and say, hey, X number of rivals 5 stars ended up in the NFL or whatever. And so they're not doing an evaluation. They're allowing Georgia to do the evaluation for them.
Yep.
And saying, well, if Georgia took the kid, he must be better because they're players.
Yeah, because they're a higher standard.
Yeah, watch the NFL draft. Like half the players are from Georgia and Alabama. It's like, oh, we're going to boost it up because it's reverse engineering the ranking. But they've been doing that for years. Honestly don't care.
But what they're not doing half the time either is
they're not watching any of these kids.
No, they're not.
Because they're not is when
going on what everybody else does who didn't watch.
He gets offered by Miami, and now all of a sudden, all the SEC comes running, right? And now they want to bump him up too. And then it's like, at what point?
I was talking about though, they're reverse engineering their rankings so they can justify it down the road, and it shows up when, for example, a team like Florida State collapses, and you're like, we have all these 5 stars. No, they gave them 5 stars because Florida State was up when they committed to them. And it's the same thing. Again, we've been on the other end of that when in the early 2000s, all of our classes were ranked really high, and those players were not good. But it didn't matter. You commit to Miami. Look at Miami had 6 first-round picks. We're going to rank everyone high that committed there. And now we're on the other end of that because, frankly, people have been burned by backing Miami over the last 2 decades. So that's where we're at right now, and you know, if we start winning, it's going to do the opposite. If we start putting multiple first-round picks in the draft every year and doing all that, they're going to do the opposite. Kid gets in Miami, they're going to bump the thing up because it's all just a
They've
show.
always done that. It depends on you. Yeah. Plus, I think Miami might have called him and told him to drop him so they didn't have to pay him as much. So, hey, you're only
that's
ninth
what I'm
now.
talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
You're only 9th now. You're not 1.
Instead of 2.5 million, you get 2 million.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll be very interested.
You're living next to the Cavenders.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'll be very interested to see how the merger between Rivals and Yahoo Sports goes. I'm not sure if that will change much, but I'm going to be interested to see how that kind of changes the landscape of, you know, recruiting and how these analysts view things.
No.
I don't think so either, but
it's 247 and on 3 ain't exactly lighting it up. So
no, but they're from the same guy. So
no, I hear you, but listen. That makes sense. I saw this spring 27 schools, and I at any of those schools I never saw one Rivals 24/7 or on 3 guy, not once, not even for a jamboree like the other day where they had all those high profile kids from mainland and you know.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. So, but that's okay. They can keep on coming on that All-Star game on the 7th from the Alamo Dome and having Andrew Ivins on there and and him giving his opinion on kids that he really never saw. I mean, I see that he pretty much for 24/7 gives an evaluation on every kid. Well, my neighbor could watch film and do the same thing. Yeah. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
You don't get a feel for a kid and talk to him. I talk to all the kids on the sideline, get an idea what, I mean, just like the other day, Moret, John Santucci from USA Today and I were talking to Moret after the game. And because I challenged him that he's not going to wrestle. He thinks he's wrestling his senior year. And I told him he needs to get his ass into college early and don't worry about wrestling. I said, right now he weighs 301. Okay, so that means that would be a 16-pound drop to get to 285.
Yeah.
All right, 15 pounds. Okay, so next year with growth, and he's not fat. So with growth and weightlifting, it's going to be at least 312. So you're going to lose all that weight, and colleges don't like that stuff. So his dad keeps thinking he's going to do that. But you know what? He's going to have a while to wait.
He's going to wrestle also and be able to drop the weight and come back up.
Huh?
His dad thinks he's going to be able to drop the weight and come back up.
Well, he's going to come back up, but how is he going to? I think holding the weight.
Yeah.
When you hold 28 pounds or 30 pounds for a wrestling season,
yeah,
it's going to be awfully tough. And he's got to have a certain amount of weigh-ins to be able to compete. So even if let's say he doesn't wrestle until mid-January,
right,
he still has to weigh in 4 times at that weight. So that means as soon as he wrestles in the districts, he's got to keep that weight for 3 weeks.
I see.
And that's not easy. No. Not when you're used to, and he doesn't have, I was looking at him the other day. He's got hardly any fat on him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just pointing out. I just think it's because, especially with Miami's, they got SJI Afala. He's going to be in there. He's going to be one of the guys going to cement himself into the center position. I have a feeling they'll move Buchanan and kick him over to guard, because I don't know if he'll play center at the next position.
You don't think Frank Avila will be a factor?
Huh?
Frank Avila won't be a factor, you don't think?
No, I think SJ's the guy for their future.
Gotcha. Well, that kind of, that's another question, right? The Moret family, that would be pretty cool to see, a Moret play at Miami. I was taught by his father. Ryan Moret's father taught me in high school.
Oh, it's South Miami, yeah.
South Miami. So,
that whole family there.
I was friends with his brother, right? With Michael Moret. Michael Moret was a huge kid, won a national title at UMass as an offensive lineman there.
Right.
Back in the early 2000s, or actually late 90s.
That was they had Javier Estepanian, and they had what's his name? The other coach, can't think of his name offhand, but his brother wrestled too. Pardo.
Pardo also, yeah.
So, but let's see.
That's a perfect example. Estepanian, a kid who was a 5-star linebacker, ended up at 285 as a defensive tackle for the Gators.
Yeah.
Titles with them. Yeah.
It's awfully tough, but we'll see. I mean, I do think, it's down to Ole Miss, Nebraska, Miami, but he's going to Miami. Yeah. I would pretty much say 100% he's going to Miami. And that's good, because he'll take that year, to develop and learn. He plays both ways for Southridge, but I'm just saying he's going to. But I think SJ's the guy. See, now if they would have signed Ty Wise's kid, he would have been the guy.
Right.
So, but I think SJ, and he's not. Listen, he's really good, and I think he's the guy, and obviously, they may try to turn Campbell into a center, but you never know. And I'll tell you a guy that didn't get enough credit, and he's still there, is Ryan Rodriguez. I think Ryan never complained, came in as a center prospect, and he's been kicked everywhere, left side, right side, and he's still there, and he's I
think Ryan Reynolds has a good shot of starting a left guard this year. I mean, he was
he will start, I think. I agree. And then, but you look at those linemen, Bell and guys like that, Okunlola. Oh, by the way, congratulations to Okunlola and to what's his name, the quarterback. They graduated in 2.5 years.
Emory Williams. That's
Emory Williams.
We're going to talk about that in a second.
Listen,
I don't know if you're going to talk about it,
but listen, that's pretty. Vish will tell you, you graduate in 2.5 years regularly if you're a student stuff, but to be a student athlete, and that's but awesome. At least they got their degree. They got what the purpose is, and now if he doesn't make it here, at least he's got a degree.
That's pretty impressive. I know there's a couple of other guys out there that we've spoken about recruiting wise. What's his name? Ashari? Is it Ashari Charles?
Yeah, Ashari Charles from Venice. Gio Emilian told me there's going to be a load of 5-stars coming on campus over the next couple of weeks.
So, and I'll kind of throw this to you, Vish, because I know sometimes the recruiting stuff kind of drives you wild, man, because it's there's so much time left also for this class. You got so many people that the recruiting, and now the recruiting timelines are changing. The transfer portal basically is done. You might hear of a name here or there just because you'll hear of some names that can still go in, right? But I think Miami is for the most part done at transfer portal, at the transfer portal. So now it's really a focus on getting the high school kids in here. What do you think should be the approach for the Hurricanes from a high school standpoint? Now you've been able to plug some holes and get some things going. I will say the one position that I think that we did a good job of at the end was really solidifying a little bit of that linebacker, right? Position with Toure and Bonner and then bring in some of the other guys that have been there. I think that was a huge upgrade at the linebacker position that they made there. How do you feel about this team now moving forward, recruiting just high school guys in general and just starting to develop and get ready for the season? Are you confident with what they have done already? And are you kind of ready to say, all right, this is exactly what we needed to do this offseason is fill these gaps, get these guys in, and now we got to start winning some ball games again and get into the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I think they addressed everything they need to address. The biggest thing to replace obviously the quarterback, which you're not going to upgrade there, but they did as well as they could have, I think, given what was available in the portal. Added, like you said, depth at linebacker, a lot of depth in the secondary. Those were the weak spots. So yeah, I think they've addressed what they need to do in terms of high school. Yeah, I think the big change now is you don't, you used to kind of, all right, we need to target those top 5-star guys, and then also target, okay, these are guys that project 2 or 3 years down the road we need to develop. That second bucket is gone. You don't do that because just let someone else develop them, you pick them up later. So I think that's kind of a change in strategy. You do kind of not necessarily need your plan B's and C's there. And instead you just, you focus on, all right, let's get the high end people that can contribute in a year or two, because if you don't have them on the field in a year or two, they're going to transfer anyway. So I think that's what they're doing. Guys like Cantwell, those are kind of the best at their positions, and I think they continue to just be opportunistic there because, I don't think going after any kind of a project at this point really makes a lot of sense. So I expect that to kind of continue.
Well, you got anything for us on the? Actually, you know what? Yeah, look, Parrish just wrote something down. I think that is a huge one from a recruiting perspective. Calvin Russell. I think he is the guy we need to get in this recruiting class. Aside from now, we got Cantwell, obviously. But I think that Calvin Russell is the guy. I saw that Jay Lucas basically, I don't want to say he was forced to offer him a scholarship, because he was a 4-star basketball player.
Yeah, he's pretty good at basketball, too.
But was offered a basketball scholarship as well at the University of Miami. So now he's been offered, both football and basketball, and he's a good basketball, very good basketball player. Do I know if he's? I don't want to say he's Miami caliber, because yes, he is Miami caliber when it comes to basketball. But if we're talking about top basketball players, in this program, how do you, from a basketball perspective, Vish? What do you, and then I'll talk to you, Blue, about football as well. But from a basketball perspective, what do you think this offer was? Do you think this was a good offer, or do you think this was an offer to get him to play football here as well?
Well, honestly, I haven't evaluated him as a basketball player, but we're not handing out basketball offers to get someone to the football team. Like, that's just not what's going to happen.
Okay.
So
if your early observation will be he must be a pretty good ball player for Lucas and that staff to offer him, right?
I don't know. I'm just being honest. Like, I've not evaluated him as a basketball player. So I don't know, but I know you don't waste a basketball scholarship on football just to get someone on football. Like that's basketball has much more restrictions on it, a lot less players on the team. It's 105 football scholarships. You just don't do that.
Well, if the kid wants to play both, it doesn't really matter, right? Because the football scholarship will supersede.
Yeah, the football always takes precedent because people used to game the system, especially with track scholarships, where a lot of these kids can run. So I mean, that was an old Butch Davis trick. Get these speedy guys on track scholarships, and then what do you know? They could also play in the NFL.
Santana Moss,
that's right. That was the joke when I was in school, and they kept on every brought Santana Moss was a walk on. Like, was it really a walk on?
Yeah, right. Walk on play in the NFL.
It's not like, oh my god, this guy showed up on campus and look how good he is. Like that was like we're gonna game the system by using a track scholarship. That was not was actually a walk on.
Well, that's good to hear because that means that he's a legit player at both sports. Obviously, him being 5-star wide receiver, Blue. The two big names that you hear about a lot are Tristan Keys and Calvin Russell as the top two guys that Miami really wants. And Tristan Keys obviously committed to LSU as well. So those are two guys. If you had to pick one or the other, Blue, who would you take on this team to commit to Miami? Would you take Russell or Keys? If you had to choose one.
Yeah, I'd take Russell because you could open a way for 1,000 other guys Northwestern has. And they've had Teddy Bridgewater on campus a lot, so they're trying to schmooze him. They like what he's doing. So I'd take Russell because they got Campbell already for that class. And, I got a chance to watch him last week over at their scrimmage, and he's playing Corey Moore DN right now because they got two pretty decent linebackers, but because he makes plays. I would take Russell. Russell's, he's 6'5", he catches everything. He gets out there. I think they'll set the table for Nick Lennar the year after because that kid, I think, will be the best 2027 receiver in the nation.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I say if anybody thinks
their quarterback is the truth over there too, they got a kid that can sling it, right?
They got two of them. They got Neiman Lawrence, the freshman, who came in from Ransom. And then they had the kid from last year, Leon Straughter, who only threw for 44 touchdowns, 2 picks, and 3,400 yards and winning a state title. So, no, they're stacked. And I made this point, Northwestern is the most talented high school football team I've ever covered. Ever.
This year.
Not even close.
This year's team.
Yes.
Wow.
Kadarius Hughes, FSU struck gold with him. If he stays, he's turned out to be just a monster. I mean, they have so much talent on that team at every, they're bringing in the kid Johnson, who Miami offered, the D tackle from North Fort Myers, who's 6'4", 280 pounds. So I just don't see. And then they got, I think, one of the most talented 2028 defensive linemen in Eli Rawls, who just transferred from Booker T. Washington. I mean, they're so stacked. What are you going to do I don't care who you are, if you're modern day or anybody, do you have 3 quality, elite defensive backs to cover Russell, Nick Lanier, and Nick St. Joseph, who caught like 11 touchdowns last year? And plus they got, isn't Aldarius's little kid there too? Aldarius Johnson? He's at Heritage.
Oh, at Heritage. Gotcha.
But they're loaded up, and that's, to answer your question in a roundabout way, that's why Miami probably would go after Aldarius more so than Tristan Keys.
Oh, Calvin. You mean Calvin Russell. Yeah. Gotcha. Well, that's a good one. Kadarius Hughes will be a Cane. Listen to Fresh throwing that out there. From him out to God's ears, Fresh. Kadarius Hughes. He belongs to me.
The kid's a monster.
I love it. Blue, I know you've been to a lot of these different showcases and jamborees and all that stuff recently. Are there any players out there that Miami, whether they've offered him or not, are guys that we need to kind of continue to keep our eye on maybe committing soon. Maybe just a kid that's building a lot of steam right now going into the recruiting cycle.
Yeah, you know what? To be honest, I don't think, other than the Northwestern kid that I mentioned, Miami's not really, there's a lot of young kids, 27, 28 kids that definitely Miami's on. The kid Wilcher, they're going to offer him. He's a Warren Sapp looking type of guy, freshman at Southridge, defensive tackle. I think him and the Eli Rawls kid are both going to be off the chart. So nobody senior wise, because I think they're going out of the area now. They pretty much tapped into this area with this class, especially the 26 class. I think they hold on to kids. That's
what about any kids that are outside of the local area? Because look, I've always been a big believer in, you lock down some of the top players in your own backyard, right? And we've been able to do that a little bit. But like with Jordan Campbell, with some guys like that, I know we're still looking at Derek Cooper as a strong.
Yeah, he's coming on a visit.
So those guys are all probably going to be there May 30th. But as you know, I've spoken to Vish about this, and we kind of talked about it a little bit. But it's not only about, and DJ actually, because DJ's got some big time players up there as well. But Vish mentioned it. Those 3 stars, those 2-star guys that are in Miami could potentially be 4-star guys in Boston or in North Dakota or whatnot, are now going to be somebody else's problem per se. And we're just going to go after top dogs, right? So let's say, this is my hypothetical, right? We're going to go after all the big time prospects in America, right? Vish mentioned this, right? We're not going to go after these 2 or 3 stars as much. Not saying we're not going to, but as much in our backyard. Now let's go out to California and Texas and North Carolina, Alabama, New York, up in the Northeast, and grab some of those top players out there. Are you hearing about any of those guys out there that are leaning towards Miami? I mean, look, we just went to Missouri and grabbed the number 1 prospect in America. So, those type of things I think Miami's going to continue to do. Are there any guys out there that, that you look at and you say, this is the guy that Miami needs to go after right away and compete with? I know there's some uncommitted guys like Ojo, the kid, the offensive lineman Ojo, some of the other guys in the top 20 list that are big 5-star prospects. Who are some of the guys that you think Miami's going to be going after hard regardless? Blue, yeah, that's for you.
Oh, I thought that was for DJ. I thought you were talking to DJ. Wow. Well, a lot of the guys that we just mentioned, that are coming on board, obviously, they're gonna. I mean, they've got 4 or 5 5-star type of kids coming in, and I think it's really tough to tell right now, Jazz, because you don't really know, what's going on until they visit here, and then you hear some rumors, and but just off the top of my head. Listen, if they got Cooper, that would be huge. That would be huge. I mean, I think I was saying to Vish and DJ last week that Cooper, in all my years of doing this, Cooper is the first player ever that went from no stars to 5 in a year.
That's ridiculous.
I've never seen that before. But that goes back to your stuff about these guys who never see anybody. Like the Rivals and all those guys who, like I said, again, I love John Garcia. He's a really good guy. I like Andrew. I like all those guys, but I never see them anywhere. See, and to me, where I go is usually the heart of the recruiting stuff. Like that day when Teddy decided to call a scrimmage over at Northwestern, I didn't see anybody there. I mean, I saw 5,000 people, but I didn't see any of those guys. Right. And to me, that would have been the first thing. If I heard of that, I would have been right over there because, you're in the center. You get a chance finally to see these kids that you only hear about and watch on film that everybody else gets to. To me, character is 95% of this game these days. And if anybody could run a 4.35 or, or bench, 500 pounds, but they have character to go along with it. And that's where you tell, are these guys team players? Like, that's where I've seen Tadarius Hughes the last 3 years play, and he's been good. But I went to watch him in that scrimmage. He was lighting people up like he was in the NFL. He's long. He'll hit you. He has cover skills. He's got loose hips. So, that means that he could always cover, and if they have somebody they need to lock down at a corner, he could put him over there. And not say, oh, well, he's only a safety and he doesn't, he'll hit you, but he's got loose hips and he's got really good swivel and he's got, he's very athletic.
Also could play basketball. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I know that as far as eligibility is concerned. I want to end with this.
Donovan McNabb did that.
I want to end with the most important position on the football field. Okay, look at this guy laughing. Look at this guy.
I know where you're going with this.
Look at this guy laughing.
Tight end.
Although I would like to
one guy out there.
I would like to add something really quick, if you wouldn't mind. I'll be interested to see if Jackson Cantwell's commitment opens up a pipeline or some more interest in the state of Missouri, because in Missouri and in Illinois right now, there is a lot of talent up there. So I'm going to be curious to see if Cantwell opens up some more interest in the state of Missouri for Miami.
I bet he will. I bet he will.
Yeah.
I don't see why he couldn't. Yeah,
they definitely need to look up there because there is a lot of good players.
But forget about that, DJ.
Tight ends.
We're talking about Mark Bowman right now. We're talking about the top tight end in the country, having Miami in his top 5 or 6 or whatnot. All right, likes Miami a lot. Talk to me about Mark Bowman. Is that a guy where you say, Miami, you better go get this man right now? Huh?
I love the tight end, so I'm not going to say no. And the tight end's the position, Jazz, so get your head out of the gutter.
Sure, whatever.
But no, yeah, he is a dynamic playmaker. He is every bit the part that Miami, could use at the tight end position. He's explosive. He is, they've done well, I think, not necessarily developing the tight end position, but more so identifying players that could potentially fit in their system. So I think Bowman would definitely be a solid piece.
Kid's a stud.
He is. Absolutely.
That kid could do something special. Anyways, Vish, you got anything for the team here?
He's working on the first round of the ACC baseball tournament.
Yeah, we got that show coming up next. And the Canes are not that far away from first pitch, which is 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So,
12 hours away, baby. Well, a little bit
9 a.m.? Wow.
Are you there? Are you?
No, I'm in Miami.
Where's it at? Charleston, right?
No. I thought
usually in Greensboro, right?
Or Greensboro.
Is it Greensboro?
It usually is.
No, the basketball is. Baseball's usually in Durham or Charlotte.
You're right. Yeah, Durham.
Knights Park there for the White Sox AAA team.
Hey, there's Martin.
It's in Charlotte.
Pleasure, man. Hey,
Martin.
Yeah, it's in Charlotte.
Oh, it's in Charlotte.
Martin from South Africa, not South Africa, from Africa, all the way from out there. Good morning, gentlemen.
Botswana, I believe.
Botswana, right? Yeah. Mr. Bluestein's wisdom and insight on recruiting. Yeah, he's all right. Who's all right? He knows a thing or two.
He knows a thing or two.
He's all right. That's your buddy Martin from Botswana.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Love it.
By the way, correction. It's Durham, not Charlotte.
Oh, Durham Bulls.
Yeah. They usually rotate between Durham and Charlotte. I think last year was Charlotte. This year is.
Who they got? Wake Forest in the first round? Who they
got? Cal.
Oh.
6 a.m. for
they
Cal.
have to travel out there.
6 a.m. for Cal.
If they win that game, they play.
I'll tell you what, I saw the SEC brackets. It looks like the College World Series. Holy mackerel. Yeah, Texas, LSU, all those teams.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
That might be where the Canes are sitting next week, so we'll see.
We'll see. Right now, they're a number 3 seed. I mean, they've been I know D1 has them in the LS. Is it Baton Rouge, right? The Baton Rouge.
Oh, nice.
Region.
Yeah, it's the 3 seed with Arizona as the 2.
Behind Arizona, yeah. So We'll see. That's actually not a bad. Whatever. I don't want to get into it right now. But
No, we got that show coming up next.
You got to want to have listeners though. Maybe Martin will call you over there.
There you go. There you go.
Well, the player. Anyway, Blue. Please tell me you got
Let's go, baby. Let's go. What do we got?
Technology?
Yeah, I do. But I want to try something first before actually today's a repeat because I had a couple of people ask me for two things that they missed. Somebody told them about, but I just want to know if I put my cell phone up. Nah, shoot.
Go over to your right a little bit. There you go. Center right there.
Yeah,
so
but
I see number 21.
Number 21. That's what we see.
God damn it.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, keep it like that.
Who's that?
Yeah, that.
Who is that?
I do not know who that is.
I don't
Defensive back from Dunwoody High School in Georgia.
Is he from Dunwoody High School in Georgia? Oof. You got
Ryan Seacrest.
Ryan.
No way.
Whoa.
Here's another one. This is from Edison High School in California. A backup quarterback starting defensive back.
He looks really familiar.
He really. Oh man.
No idea.
Nope. You're gonna have to tell us.
Rest in peace, Scott Weiland.
Wow.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay, wait. Now I got the two things that people ask me.
Man, Blue's got some cool shit, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he does. You should open a museum.
No kidding.
This is that cup that everybody asked for.
Yep.
They hadn't seen that, and the lady had asked. She asked me. She probably watching. Hopefully she is. So
I clipped this anyway, so she'll see it on that. So.
Oh, with the schedule in the back. Nice.
Nice, yeah.
That's a badass
national championship team schedule.
It's in like pristine shape too. It's like not faded or anything.
Yeah. And then the other thing was the can from that year, the Sunkissed thing with the schedule on the back.
You still got soda pop in there or what?
No.
It's closed. Yeah. Oh no.
Whoa.
But hey, listen, I have so many of those things that my old lady was killing me. She goes, "Do you know how many bugs will be in there?" So, but I have, like, as you can see in my background with the basket, with the all the beer cans.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man.
And I have Coke bottles that I don't even display, that they're full.
Wow.
I know. I got so much stuff.
Very cool.
But I'm gonna be going through a few more because I'm changing out some of these boxes to see what I have. So I'll probably come across a lot of University of Miami stuff. You weren't here last week, Jazz, to see the unveiling of the press. Technology one more time.
I love it when he says it. Technology, bitch. Oh, that's cool from the Peach Bowl in '81, huh?
It's the press guide.
That's what the press got for real?
Yeah.
They don't make them like those anymore.
That's super cool.
Yeah, we saw it last week, and I didn't. Did I show you the 1995 picture or no team picture?
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, you did.
That was with all those studs. Okay.
Butch Davis picture. Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's it.
Well, check this out.
5 different things.
That was.
Well, that's all I got here in front of me without having
We should
to
just
get
do
up
a show dedicated to all your memorabilia and have us just watch.
More than one show, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one of the ladies said, I heard you had the 1983 cup and also the Sunkissed thing, so I wanted to show her.
Good times.
So
thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
I have plenty. Maybe one day what I'll do is I'll turn my computer around and do the show so you can see everything around the room.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's
pin down. You can't be getting here later than talking trash, all right? You can't be
Who's
getting
there?
here later than talking trash.
Pimp down. Let's see what he say.
Yeah, I'm not really a hoarder, but
He's a memorabilia collector.
yeah, a hoarder would have like piles of stuff.
Yeah.
But I do. I will tell you this, that Jazz Santana, I told, Joe Frisaro is a baseball writer.
Yeah.
I told Joe, you could come to my house and spend literally a month and not see every baseball thing. So I I have Baseball Americas, like with Pat Burrell's picture on it. And all. But every one, because I had subscription for 14 years. So I kept every one of those. I have sitting right over here. They used to have these thing called Who's Who Baseball. And it's before your time, and they used to come out with these things every year. This is Baseball Digest. This is Dwight Gooden on it. But
I remember those.
Yeah, no, but this thing right here, they used to put these out every year. It was called Who's Who. And it would have had, this is 1992. And then what they would do is have this, and then on the back, they'd have the championship team from the year on it. This was the year that the Twins won.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
It was on the cover.
Inside they have all the players and their stats, and they don't do this anymore, but I wish they would.
Wow.
But I have those back since 1957. Wow. And again, that's when I'm bored, I'll take out my baseball stuff and read it. And I have athlons.
We'll just have to have a barbecue at Blue's house one night.
Yeah.
We invite ourselves over.
We're coming over.
I'll fly down.
Have all your baseball shit out. Let's
If
go.
it was up to my wife, we'd use the magazines to start the damn fire. So
Oh man, that's awesome.
We're the bugs she thought you'd be attracting. We'll all show up. It's like, oh, this is what
I'll fly down.
I warned you they'd show up.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, great show, fellas. We got another one next Monday, so subscribe to the 5 Reasons Games podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you get your podcasting. Follow us on Twitter or X at 5 Reasons Canes. Jesus, It took me a while to get that out. Make sure you follow us there and check us out every Monday at 8:30 to talk some Canes football. And we got Canes baseball coming up in about 5 minutes, so make sure you
baseball coming up, and then Saturday we have our Buckets 2-year anniversary show. We got the women's basketball head coach Trisha Cullop coming on.
Hey,
Nice.
There we go.
As she was last year on the first, so now it's becoming an annual every anniversary show. She's got to show up now. She's committed to that. So so we're gonna reminisce a little bit, talk some women's hoops and some men's hoops as well.
So that's good. That's good. Maybe
Check
you can
them
get
out
Caitlin
Saturday.
Clark and Angel Reese on one week.
Maybe they were plan B if we couldn't get Coach Cullop.
Yeah.
That would do ratings. I'm not gonna lie.
Very distant plan B. Very distant.
Yeah. We started at the top, got the top, so you don't need to work your way down after that.
That's right. All right, check us out for Kings on Deck in a little bit. We'll see you guys soon. Adios.
The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know.